Hello everyone, this is Mayo the African. We are back today trying to demystify or trying to have a look at the progress of Africa in the last 5 years. According to what has been happening in Africa, I tend to believe that we are currently in the right trajectory, as most of African countries are actually agitating for what's rightfully ours. For instance, let's take an example of West Africa countries which are actually leading by example. Let's take the example of Bukina Faso and maybe Nigeria. They are doing tremendously in terms of controlling our resources. Upon taking power, Ibrahim Traore, the president of Bukina Faso in 2022, he has been on the forefront claiming or putting it forward that Africa with its rich resources deserves to be at the bigger table when it comes to global discussion. During his maiden speech, during this maiden international speech in Russia during the Africa-Russia summit, Traore wasn't skeptical or didn't shun to put out that Africa has rich resources which it should control, and he has taken measures to ensure that that happens. In the last few months, that is November 2022, Ibrahim Traore launched the first gold refinery in Bukina Faso. That refinery is going to serve country in making sure that they refine their gold rather than exporting their gold as raw. The said refinery has the capacity to refine 150 tons of gold annually, which is a very great step. Since the independence, the country has been exporting numerous gold but as raw. For instance, statistics presented in 2020 presents it that in the country, the gold mines are owned, 90% are owned by foreigners, majorly by West, and the countries or the government of Burkina Faso owns only 10%, which is so small. Secondly, the country, after the summit in Russia, the Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traore signed an agreement with Russia for the development of nuclear power plant in the country. With the current development, with the current urge for industrial revolution in Africa, it means that the power is at the core. The power to run those industries is needed, and the nuclear power production is one of the possible remedies to the current shortage of power in Africa. So Traore signed an agreement with Russia, and he has commissioned the construction of nuclear power plant in the country. During the speech, the president did not spare the African presidents who has been of the beggary towards the West. In fact, at one point or during his speech, he said that a slave who cannot assume his revolt does not deserve to be pitied. He went on to say that Africans, the way we are now, as we agitate for power or as we agitate to control our resources, we should not seek pity from anyone, and no one should pity us, but we should chart our own way and do things which we think the Africa deserves. That means putting our priorities and setting our priorities right. Thirdly, upon assuming power in Burkina Faso, that was in October 2022, he has actually shunned France. For many years, we know that the French colonies have been paying taxes to France up to date. But upon assuming the presidency, Burkina Faso Ibrahim Traore president ensured that that does not happen again in his country, and the country is currently in the right trajectory. Let's switch to Nigeria and see what the Africa's richest man Aliko Dangote is doing in his country. In 2023, his oil refinery company received the first 1 million barrel of crude oil to be refined in the factory. For many years, oil producing countries in Africa has been exporting the crude oil to other countries to be refined there. Then we import again after exporting as crude oil, but at this time when we are importing them at a higher price since it has been refined. So it's only prudent for us if we refine our own oil and make sure that we do what is right for us, and through the refinery we'll be able to get full rewards from our natural resources. The Aliko Dangote oil refinery has the capacity to refine 620 barrels of crude oil per day. And in 8th December, Dangote said that they are expecting more than 8 million barrels within a few months, say that when the company or when the refinery starts running, it doesn't have to stop. It will be a continuous process, making the country reap great out of that. The supplies of the crude oil of the Aliko Dangote refinery plant will be the Shell International Trading Shipping Company and the NPP belonging to Nigeria's government. With such progress or with such agitation which we have noted in the recent past, we are so sure or we are so certain that Africa is destined in the right direction. If only we can manage our natural resources, if only we can refine, if only we can process our resources, then our resources will be able to fund us, our resources will be able to develop our continent, our resources will be able to propel us a great deal. To add on that, we have seen some of African countries putting forward the need to have borderless Africa, being led by Kenya and Rwanda. In last year, Rwandan President Paul Kagame indicated that all African citizens are free to enter Rwanda. In that case, you don't need to apply for visa in your respective countries. You just have to visit the country and you'll be identified electronically for any records and identification purpose, and you'll be granted entry into the country. Additionally, Kenya also have been followed the footsteps of Rwanda. The Kenyan President Ruto last year December announced that Africa will be borderless, that is, will be visa-free country for all Africans, and that is a right thing. In fact, 4 days ago we noted the first batch of people who came into country without visa and they were granted entry, and that in as much as some people have been postulating or have been putting forward that will attract criminals, but I tend to differ with that, because making the country borderless will just, in as much as people will be coming in, those people, it doesn't mean that they will just be coming in freely. They have to be examined at the international airports, that is at the entry points, where their records, the criminal records will be run through in correspondence with their countries to check if the country has, if the citizen has any criminal record. Therefore, the chance of saying that that will attract criminals, I don't think if that holds much water. Even Seychelles, for the longest time, have been visa-free country, and we haven't seen any crime in that country. The country is running smoothly. In fact, it's among the leading country in Africa with the highest GDP. The country, or Africa, is great, and Africa is heading towards the right trajectory, or heading towards the right direction. This is Mayo the African. If you liked my video, kindly like this video and share if you don't mind, and kindly requesting for your subscription. Bye bye, let's catch up next time.